Welcome back. Today I am going to be fitting a vacuum pipe to the driving trolley. I don't know if I'll get around to doing anything else, but we'll see how much video I make doing this. So let's take a look at what we want to achieve. So the driving trolley is already braked with a handbrake. However, as the engine has vacuum on board, we want to through pipe the vacuum through the wagon. So, that is a pipe of the right diameter. It's quite thick walled, but there's another coil somewhere. But in essence, we're doing that. I don't think this will be long enough anyway, once it has to swerve around. So, what do we need to do? We need to make a bracket that sits at each end. There is a brake system in the middle that we're going to need to swerve around, hence this may not be long enough. So yeah, with a little bracket to go on here. I had thought of a flat plate that came down, but it'd be a bit awkward to fit. Didn't really want to put another screw through there if I could help it. So what I think I'm going to do, in a similar way to the engine, I'll put a piece of angle on the bottom of this with just a single screw going up. So I'm going to go and cut some angle and come back to you in a moment. So here we are with a couple of pieces of brass angle, but I have noticed a problem with my plan. Once I drill a hole in this to be able to screw it down or screw it up, and I put a hole through there to run the pipe through, I won't be able to put the screw through the hole. So I only thought I'd show you this because it's doing things wrong that make you learn. Fortunately, I only got as far as cutting them off. So I've made two wider ones so that the screw can go to one side and the pipe can go through at the other side. So now to drill and countersink a hole in each side, in one side of each of these, and drill a clearance hole through the other. So there we have the first pair of holes drilled and countersunk. Time to swip them round and drill the clearance holes for the quarter pipe. And there we go. Two brackets cleaned up, rounded on the what will be the lower corners. I don't like sharp corners where I can help it. Countersunk and ready to go on. So just to decide where to put them, run a piece of pipe, mark the pipe, and then drop them off and solder them on. So that is them fitted. As you can probably see, I've put some soft solder paste on, and I'm just going to use that torch there. There's the paste, there's some more solder to solder it in place. Just soft solder it in situ, and then once it's soldered, I'll adjust the pipe in the middle, bend it so that it's not dangling like it is. On to plan B. As I was starting to warm it up, I could see the paint bubbling on the wooden underframe. So I'm going to drop it down, solder it. When it's cooled down, screw it back up, then move to the other end. So I'll get this end done, then I'll go and have some dinner and come back. As you can see, just loosening that screw seemed to be enough to hold it away enough that I could solder it. That just needs to cool down and I'll come back after dinner. I mean, it's not that hot that I particularly need to wait that long. It's just that dinner happens to be ready, so I'll be back shortly. So while I was indoors having my dinner, we watched something on TV, and this cropped up. Fancy a Ginty being on an advert for the radio. So back to where we were and off to do some more soldering. I should note that I did ask at the end of the last episode about which side the vacuum would normally be on. The answers were a bit ambiguous at times. Some saying right hand side, some saying right as you look at it. Well, but I've noticed on this wagon here, which is the only one of my wagons that has a vacuum pipe, it is on the left as I look at it. Also the locos I've seen, it's always on the left, although I did see a picture of a tender with on the right. There's a Britannia tender with it on the right, and my Queen Mary brake, it's on the left as you look at it. Hence I've gone for the left as you look at it for the wagon. So it's cooled down now, we'll screw it up, slacken off the other end, get that soldered. And there we have it. The other end is soldered on and screwed back up. So that is now done. So with the vacuum done on the wagon, all that's left to be done to this, from my preference, I want to make a pot that fits in there nicely. It'll hide the pipes underneath and just give a proper coal space. I also want to beef up the springs because it is a little bit bouncy, and I'd like to fit a speedo to it somewhere, whether that be up here or on one of the corners, although if it's up here it will get in the way of the coal coming out, so it might be best mounted up here somewhere. But that's what's left for this, but that's for another day. At the moment, my next thing is back onto the engine. I don't know if you remember, I've shown you in the past, it's back in the other workshop now because I was looking for a bit of bar. The pin in the coupling was just an old bolt. Now, I'm never particularly happy with that, so I'm going to make a new one. Probably quite similar to the one on this one. Let's go and have a look. So this is the bolt that was in it. Just a M6 bolt. Doesn't look particularly good when it's in there. Doesn't look particularly professional. So, not that we are professionals. Yeah, so I'm going to turn up a new pin. Probably cross drill the bottom for an R-clip. My personal preference would be for there to be a hook on the back, but there are some clubs that insist on fixed couplings, and there are some clubs that insist on a safety chain between the two as well. So that's another job. I want to try and make that a bit tidier, but that's all in good time. For now, coupling pin. Let's have a little bit of a turn up. So this is a bit of bar that I just found in the scrap box. If I copied the same dimensions, if I just take that down to 6mm, right back to that shoulder that's there, then I'll just put a bit of shape beyond there, just something to get hold of nicely. Let's go. So I've just measured the hole in the back of the engine, and it is a 1/4 hole. So some would say make a 1/4 pin. No. The most likely cause of a pin riding up and needing some retaining is that the pin is too tight. As a chain snatches, it will lift it ever so slightly. When it's lifted, as it slackens off to snatch again, if it can't drop, then it lifts it further. So it gradually lifts up. A tight fitting pin will come up. So what I tend to use is for a 1/4 hole, I'll make a 6mm pin. That's what I do on the other engines. I've never had one ride up. So, but I will put a cross hole in the bottom for an R-clip anyway. But 6mm hole, 6mm pin, 1/4 hole. And there we are, machined, slight chamfer on the end, couple of grooves to make it easy to get hold of, and just about part it off. So then it can come out and have the cross hole drilled in it. And now we have it set up in the drill to drill for the cross drill for the R-clip. The R-clip measures 60 thou, so I'm using a 70 thou drill bit, which is about a number 50, I believe. There we go. Now I have only drilled it through the centre by eye. I'm sure there's people that will set it up in the mill and drill through very accurately, but it's a retaining clip. What's the need to go that precise with it? And there we go. Much nicer looking. In fact, at some stage I may even change the clevis. I don't really like the look of that. If the square bit went right back to the buffer beam, I'd be happier. It might be that I can take it off, take that bit off and bolt it back on. It would look more like that, to be honest. Although I think the one on my 5-inch is chunkier and stronger than this one. So there we go, another couple of improvements, modifications, differences, depends how you want to think about it. For me they're improvements, but for someone else they might prefer it the way it was, who knows. Certainly the pipe through the trolley needed doing, because how else are you going to draw a vacuum from behind? So all that's left to do to this really, like I said, speedo, coal pot. I'd need to make a shovel. I haven't got a suitable size shovel for this at the moment. I prefer it to look nice as well. And that's all that needs doing. Other things I'd like to do, I'll put a wooden foot plate in still. That's still on my list, but I need to make some supports for it to sit on. What else is there? I'm sure there's something else I'm forgetting which I wanted to do. Yeah, but for now, that's it. I might have a go at 3D printing some lamps to go on the front. They're quite short lamp irons actually. Yeah, that's about it. Whoa. Oh, almost fell over. Yeah, so she's bar a shovel, she's ready to run. A coal pot would be nice, but I can run without one. I can just put an ice cream tub or something in there, but I'd like to make something that fits nicer. So thanks for watching. I will be back. I'll show you what more's to be done, and I will give you a look around the workshop. There's just a couple of bits I'd like to tidy up before I show you round again. So thanks for watching. I'll be back. I hope you will be too. Take care.